I find it a lot less frustrating for me when I can see what she's seeing rather than what she's telling me she's seeing, because those are two very different things a
Point the
lot of
phone
times.
to the yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
Tell me a story.
And this was brought by you.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell some tech support stories.
Oh yeah. And so Joe, before I tell you mine, how did you what was your first tech support job?
Ooh. So my first official job I've never really had a tech support, but I've always
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
I was always the go-to guy when it came to tech in my house. I remember one of the first times we had a computer at our house. My dad had brought home the computer that he'd used at work because he couldn't it stopped working according to him. And so I set it up in my bedroom, and this was early 90s. We didn't even have internet or anything like that. And I power it on, and it sits there, and it's just got a blinking cursor. And I type in start and hit enter. I come to find out you could have typed in basically anything or just hit enter, and it would have come up. But that's all you had to do. Granted, there wasn't like hardly anything on this computer. All that I used it for was to play what am I not Centipede, Worm.
Oh yeah.
And
Worm is all-time favorite.
yeah, so that's all I would play on it. But all my dad had to do was hit enter, and he could have gotten to it. And I don't know if he had some DOS programs that he used for work, or why. I don't even know what he used for at work. But when I did that and I showed him that was the first time my dad said, "Hey, whatever you do in life, you should do something with computers."
There you go.
And well, now I'm a programmer.
That's awesome.
But I one of the things that people make fun of the most when it comes to tech support is, oh, turn it off and turn it back on. That solves so many problems. There is so much truth to that stigmatism, that meme. Even at work, because I'm a server admin basically now, and so a server is acting up, or an application on it is acting up, turn it off, turn it back on again. Because what ends up happening, and this is going to go over a bunch of people's heads, but as a program gets running, depending on how efficiently it was programmed, it will keep consuming memory that it doesn't release. And so that extra memory can cause issues with how the program is running, or just how the server is performing. And so turning it off and turning it back on again, it resets all of that memory that's being used. And another one, a lot of people, when you are turning it off and turning it back on again, they'll tell you to leave it off for a minute before you turn it back on again. And a lot of people are like, why?
Yeah.
So the actual reason for that is because the capacitors will still hold a charge. And so for that memory to fully clear, you got to give it time for the capacitors to empty of their charge so that the memory can be reset. So that's why they tell you, wait a minute. Now, it doesn't usually actually take the full minute, but wait a minute before you turn it back on again. Yeah, there have been times where people have called me that, oh, this isn't working. I'm like, well, is it charged? They're like, oh, they hadn't even bothered plugging it in to charge. Like, it's a device
It's happened.
that it just runs on a battery, but they're like, it's not working. Yeah, because it doesn't have any electricity.
Perpetual motion hasn't been invented yet.
And I'm just like, come on, people. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It was funny you should say about the turning off. because at my work, I'll have people, I don't know, do something like that. And I always tell them, okay, turn it off and count to 15, which is excruciating to them. So they want to
Yep.
turn it right back on. I'm like, no, 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 no. Because there is, like you said, the discharge, things can be in memory. Another thing is turning something off and turning it right back on. Sometimes, some like capacitors, I've seen computers literally pop their power supplies because they
Mm.
haven't fully discharged, and and it causes some issues that. Um, so yeah, to your point of that, you are right, sir. And I mean on multiple levels there, but yeah, I always tell people count to 15, and they're like, and I hear them on the phone, 1, 2. I'm like, you don't have to do this out loud, or let's just talk about it here.
A bit of an exasperated sigh after
Yes,
every
it
word.
is. It is. I am not exaggerating, but yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I've learned very quickly that if my mother-in-law ever calls me for tech support, I immediately have to get on FaceTime with her because she is not the best when it comes to describing what she is seeing. And so I find it a lot less frustrating for me when I can see what she's seeing rather than what she's telling me she's seeing, because those are two very different things a
Point the
lot of
phone
times.
to the
Oh,
yeah.
exactly. Oh man.
That's great.
Yeah. I I when we were early married, I actually spent a Christmas break writing a program for my in-laws. And they, as far as I know, they still use it to today, but it's just a simple, it's basically a spreadsheet, but it keeps track of all of their movies,
Oh,
because they all the time they would say, oh, I want to watch an action movie. What movies do we have? And so it's basically a database of their movies, and they can determine what categories to put stuff under: action, mystery, different things like that. And or I've heard them say like, "Oh, I want to watch a movie with this actor in it." So I made it so that it keeps track of. They can put in the different actors, and then I put a notes section because sometimes they would be like, "Oh, when's the last time we watched this movie?" And I made it so that you could search on any of the different columns and whatnot, and so it's just like uh, they they've only very very early on did they have to call me for tech support on that, but yeah, so I ran through it with them, and they seem to have absolutely loved having their little spreadsheet program and whatnot. And yeah, they they tried to tell me I should sell it out, and I'm like, that most people would just keep it in an actual spreadsheet. But either that, or it'd have to be a lot more polished, because I literally wrote it over the course of a week maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, that is one of the troublesome things when it comes to being a programmer is if you ever write something for somebody, uh you're always expected to fix it every single time and keep it up to date, so it keeps working. So luckily with
Yeah.
that one, as far as I know, it's still working. I should ask them sometime if they still use it. I bet they do.
Yeah. Be careful who you tell you're a programmer to. Sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know. Charles keeps coming to me with different pitches of stuff that I should program,
I know.
and a lot of times I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I've got a lot of stuff that I need to do, let alone your
I
little
know.
projects.
I'm my own worst
Um,
enemy on that. I mean, how many programs? I haven't even. I want to tell you about later, but we'll talk about
well,
that.
and people see, oh, you're a computer guy, you can do anything with computers, whereas like the other day he messaged me, he's like, how much do you do with GUIs? um and I'm like, I'm mostly a back end program. Well, these days I'm not technically a programmer, although I do some programming every now and again, more scripting. But I'm like, even when I was a full-time programmer, most of my stuff was back-end stuff. And for those that are like, what's GUI? GUI is GUI, and it stands for graphical user interface. It's buttons. It's how you
It's
it's how,
Windows.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty
it's how the
much.
user interacts with stuff, which is I've done a little bit, mostly web based stuff, but yeah,
I
yeah.
totally get it.
Hmm.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I had some applications I wrote. I don't know application, but things for me tying things together, programs, and I use them all the time. That people come ask me questions. I don't have to, throw the chicken bones on the ground and say, I don't know. I can actually look it up, and it pulls in from multiple different systems. But it was for me. Heck,
Yep.
I would edit the text file, run it. You've done this.
Oh yeah.
And we had a guy who took over a position doing a stores clerk position, and he needed to look up. Oh, it's something. It was like 100 different computers, and the native software we use for tracking that, it's excruciating. It's like it could be 30 seconds before when you enter it, it gives you a result. Mine gives it right away, and it'll pull you information from all these other systems. And I was like, all right, Jaden, I'm doing you a favor, and it's actually for me too, because it really be better. And I wrote a GUI around my back-end system, just like you. So I totally get it. And I get it, man. You and I.
Yep.
It's
Well,
interesting. It's interesting
and
being back-end programmer and trying to move to the front and support people, though.
yeah, well, and what people don't understand is taking something that is personal use and trying to make it something that's ready for commercial use is very, very different. It is an order of magnitude more difficult, because you have to then take into account all of the ways people will use it incorrectly.
Exactly.
And
100%.
yeah, you even when you think you've accounted for all the ways that they can use it incorrectly, people will surprise you with how wrong they can be. and,
I
and
never
so
thought of doing that.
yeah, and so having something that works for you because you know what inputs to give it and you know what right ones to do, it's going to take you at least 10 times longer to
Oh,
make
yeah.
something that is usable by a broader audience. So
It
yeah.
could be fun too, but you're right. It is a lot of work and so forth. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. You and I were talking beforehand. I'm developing a bot for the digital media track.
Oh, yeah.
And I've gone through so many different scenarios in my head of use cases that I think people would like for it. And I'm sure that I have not even scratched the surface of what people will once I actually put it out in the Discord and have it running.
Hmm.
People are like, "Oh, can you make it do this? Oh, can you make it do that?" And so we will see. We'll see how that goes,
Oh, yeah.
how well it is received, and who breaks it first.
Challenge accepted, Charles. Of course not.
Oh man.
That's
But
great.
yeah, it'll be good. It's my first foray into writing a bot for Discord, and I guarantee you there's stuff that I am doing very, very wrong. But I'm not writing it for a broader audience. I'm writing it for the digital media track.
Yeah.
And so because I know for certain, bare minimum, um, it literally will only work in the digital media track Discord because I have hard coded that this is the server it is running on. So
Can't escape.
yep. Whereas if I was trying to run it on any server, like there's a lot of bots for Discord.
Oh, yeah.
That would have to be dynamic and yeah. Anyway, yeah, tech support is not for the faint of heart, and it requires a lot of patience.
Does.
And when you finally think that you have seen everything that there is to see when it comes to how people will abuse products, nope, you will find something new that people have messed up.
Oh, yeah. And when one of my first tech jobs where someone actually paid me for it, I worked for a company called Data Storm. So you're talking about early 90s. And it was DOS base, Procom Plus. So it was BBS software, dial up. And, I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, you think about that. We were doing things on a computer running at 4.77 megahertz.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and that was, woo, we were screaming. Yeah, that was
Oh
great.
yeah.
And yeah.
It is amazing what we have in our pockets
Mm-hmm.
now would be considered a supercomputer back in the early 90s.
100%.
It's amazing to see how much technology has progressed in the past 30 years.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had one guy call up, and I'm not exaggerating this, but when he called up, he was like this stereotypical stoner voice, like, man, dude, this software it's I can't figure this out. And I'm like, okay. And oh, by the way, I don't know if anyone who's ever done tech support or phone support, you get this voice, and you're like, oh, well, absolutely, sure, well, happy to take care of that for you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And I'm going through it with him, and he's like, and this, when I do this, and it doesn't open that, and he's kind of talking with it, and so he's going along, and I walk him through it all, and you were talking about that was one of the things that job helped me learn how to visualize. Because you have to just spend your brain. It's like the mind palace, man. You've got to like
Yep.
put yourself inside of someone else and ask them 20 questions, and it helps that the product. So you're looking right up in the corner. What do you see there? And all that stuff. Anyway, so I walked this whole thing through with him, and I fixed his problem. And I said, hey, by the way, sir, you at the very beginning, you had said something about how you didn't like how, I don't know, it was like an address book or something didn't pop up. Well, I did this, and that problem will go away. And he's like, man, I get someone who's helpful, and they're too helpful. And he hung up on me. And I'm like, what? How did that happen?
You're too helpful. Oh man.
Oh my gosh. I would say that was, I'm hands down one of the strangest resolutions of all time, being too helpful, which I will accept it. I'll take that. You're talking about your parents, or your mother and father-in-law. My grandmother, so she had a degree in chemistry. So my grandfather was a civil engineer, and they went to, and so she's a sharp lady. She
Yeah.
wanted to get into computers in her 90s, and this is in the early 2000s, and she did it. I mean, she, they had DSL in St. Louis, so it was good. And as she got older, they moved into assisted living, and my aunt came to me and said, John, she wants to still pay her own bills, but she's having hand problems, so she can't write checks. Can you write a program that will print checks? I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I was a programmer. I programmed at that time something called FoxPro, which is database programming. And it was a business program. So it had all that stuff, kind of like, it was easy. So I wrote it up. She gave me a couple of samples. I loaded them in there. It literally had her name, everything. All she had to do is put in to whom, how much, print, put it in the printer, and print it out, sign it, away you went. And she used that thing for years. And I'm happy to say it worked, I guess. She got older, and she began to deteriorate on that. And finally, she let my uncle and aunt help take care of that stuff. But it was one of those things. I always thought, oh man, what if it goes something wrong, or something margins change,
Yep.
never, but it worked out. But yeah, tech support is, if you have, I don't want to say everyone should do it. It's hard, but I'll tell you what, you learn some insane skills out of it. And
even if it's not tech support, I think everyone should have some kind of customer service experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it really helps. Well, helps you be more patient because you deal with some
There you
crazy
go.
people. But it changes the way you approach people who are in customer service.
Yeah.
It helps you empathize with people in those situations. So whether it's being a restaurant server or being tech support or any other customer facing thing, working at the front desk of a hotel or something,
Yeah.
anything. Um, it Some people are very naturally, um how do I want to phrase this? They are very natural when it comes to being respectful of those in, uh I don't want to say subservient because that is very much the wrong word, but when someone is serving you, some people get haughty and other people don't. They get
Yes.
prideful. And so having had that experience, I think it helps keep people humble and respectful.
Yes. 100%. And you can, it teaches you a lot. One last thing, not even about me. When I was in college, I worked as a manager, McDonald's during the summer. And we had this one guy, he was a high school kid, and he came in. He was terrible. I mean, he was terrible. I mean, he was just like clueless and just, it's like, oh my God, this kid's never going to get it. And then he got it. Suddenly, I don't know where, when, and he just became rock star. And one day we're working, and we were right on interstate, and it was backed up. I mean, the lobby was full, and this lady walks in, an older lady, and she's got this, it's like just stereotypical 70s lady, visor. I can't even begin, uh, I can't even begin to say, but anyway, she's up there and he's giving it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so wonderful!" And he was just really knocking it out. He was doing a great job. I'm sitting right next to him. I'm watching this because it's kind of funny, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And she leans over, like, give him a kiss on the cheek, and he goes, "Here, fill out our survey." He put it right there between it, and I'm like, "Oh man." And he got done, and I was like, "Well done, man. That was smooth." He's like, "I think she was going for a kiss me." I'm like, "I think she was." He was like, "No." Anyway, but it did. I mean, I could see the change in him even. And I think even, made me a better person, I think, long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Everyone should have a position like that at some point.
Agreed. 100%.